Hey, welcome back to Morning Joe. I just want to follow up on this Gayle King story really quick, Rev. You've been talking about it for the past several days. We brought it up a couple days ago. I still got to say, let's put it in the starkest terms. A black woman who is a journalist has her life threatened from a guy who has 39 million people.
The Post is still up.
The Post is still up. She faces threats and abuse. Her children are now facing threats and abuse.
24-hour security.
Gayle King now has to have 24-hour security. And I'll be damned. Have I read the New York Times editorialize about it? No. What's all your bullshit about protecting journalists when you have a black woman whose life was threatened? Nothing there. Wall Street Journal, nothing.
Wait,
what are you doing?
Viacom
what are you
CBS?
Doing? Where's Viacom CBS? Has the USA Today done it?
Snoop.
Where are you? A black female journalist's life has been threatened. She and her children fear for their lives. And you aren't writing about this? So is everything that you've said about Donald Trump threatening members of the press nonsense? Did you really not mean it? Did you really not mean it? You meant none of that about Donald Trump? Is that all politics?
Well, where's corporate America? Because there are people.
Where is corporate America? Where is Viacom?
Partnerships.
Let me say it again. A black female journalist fears for her life this morning. Her children are facing abuse and threats. And the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, Viacom, nobody is talking about this. After preaching on a mountain for years about how dangerous it is when Donald Trump threatens members of the press. Well, guess what? I think it's dangerous when Donald Trump threatens members of the press. And I think it's dangerous when pop culture figures threaten members of the press, especially a black woman
doing her job,
who is only doing her job. You know what? We can have a debate whether the question should have been asked or not. We're so beyond that right now. We are so beyond that right now. What's the conspiracy of silence about, New York Times? Why aren't you writing about this? What about you, Washington Post? Wall Street Journal, where are you? Viacom, where are you? A black woman has gone to bed, a journalist, in fear of her life for, 5, 6 days? And there's a conspiracy of silence. Reverend, you're one of the few people that's been talking about this. What in the hell is going on?
The fact is, what you just expressed in very passionate terms is my concern. This is not about Snoop Dogg. I like Snoop Dogg. I defended him doing a gospel record. This is about a precedent of letting people infer threats and directly call women out of their name.
It wasn't inferred.
It wasn't inferred.
It wasn't direct.
And the profanity that was used?
To call
Let
her,
me just say.
I've been saying for years, we cannot use the N-word, B-word, or H-word. For me to not have said something because it's somebody that I know, I think it's a height of hypocrisy. And I get all kind of pushback. I've got clapback. But I must stand by the that women should not be called out of their name, no matter what the circumstance. We can debate the other issue.
LeBron, did I hear correctly? LeBron liked the Post?
Yes, and name one person on this set, name one person in entertainment doing talk shows who would post something like this that wouldn't be fired in 3 seconds.
And by the way,
less than.
They were filming yesterday with Martha Stewart. They were filming yesterday for VH1, the Martha and Snoop series potluck party challenge. It's supposed to be on the air tomorrow night.
Viacom.
Yesterday,
that's Viacom. Who, by the way,
yesterday they were filming. Martha Stewart was there. William Shatner was there. Tamar Braxton was there. Trey Songz was there. They were all there working with Snoop on set to film an edition of the show that will show.
And they say he speaks for himself. They say he walked it back. He did an additional post, still leaving the threatening, profanity-laced post up that millions of people can watch right now. He did an additional post, sort of trying to make Gayle look older, trying to do little dog whistles while sort of saying maybe we're not violent. It was not an apology. He did not pull it back. He actually made it worse. And he kept his post up.
Yamiche, what do you think?
I've been watching this as someone who really admires Gayle and have been, quite frankly, horrified for her and quite frankly horrified as an African-American woman. Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote it best yesterday or over this weekend, which was really that we should be better than this. We should be better than being able to not be able to calmly express our dislike. If there's something that you dislike about the question, then you can do that. But I think to watch her be attacked in the way that she was attacked and to watch the silence that has happened has been really heartbreaking, because she's a journalist who prepares, who obviously worked hard to get that job. And if you don't like the question or you don't like the way that you think that she conducted her interview, you can easily express that. But what this was threatening someone's life for doing journalism, and that to me should not at all be something that anybody should engage in. And I think it's really, really sad. And I think that there's a whole generation of women, including myself, who look at Gayle and say this is who we want to be like. Yes. And the fact that people aren't coming to her aid, I think, is very, very disheartening.
Willie.
And I don't know why. I don't know why there's silence around. I mean,
are you afraid?
We talked about this yesterday. When it happened, I posted something on Twitter. Gayle's a friend of ours, but also she's in our journalist community. I posted something, and I was surprised the next day when the write-ups came out that they cited you and me as the people who defended her. I said, wait a minute, didn't everybody come out and defend her? I hadn't really paid that close attention to. I don't know. Is it because Snoop is a popular figure? Is it because you fear retribution from Snoop and his fans?
Why there should be
I don't know why people aren't speaking out. I genuinely don't know why people aren't saying more.
And you know, all these people that worked with him yesterday before he has apologized for threatening the life of a black journalist.
You know, at the edge of this story is the culture surrounding this story. We're talking about Gayle King today. She needs no defense, but she deserves a solid defense, and she deserves much more than she's received from, as Joe pointed out, other publications like The Times, Washington Post. You know, what about this story? It's not yet finished. But at the edge of this story is the way we live today. So can you imagine? Have you ever looked at what your children look at on Twitter, on Facebook, the things that they see every day, the things that they participate in every day, perhaps? We don't know. I mean, we're in a culture of verbal violence and assault on social media. I mean, that's the culture around us.
That's why we have to confront it. You know, Dr. King said you measure the character of a person by where they stand in the times of controversy. Not when it's easy. And that's why you had to stand up. This is about Gayle King, but it's also bigger than Gayle King. It's about women. It's about people standing up saying, you can't use that language and not offend my daughters and everyone else. You can't threaten without offending all of us. And you don't, and I say to my fellow civil rights leaders, you can't challenge Trump and not challenge those in our community that go over the line. I understand Snoop Dogg's pain if he's grieving about Kobe. I had that pain when James Brown died, who was like a father to me. But I did not have the right to call people names that were misogynist or threaten them.
Do you
I didn't have the right to go after people. So where do we have the standards? And if you're going to have clapback and you're afraid of the clapback, then you ought not be a leader. You ought not be in the journalism. There are times you have to stand up. And when this woman was called a B, we can debate whether she should have did the interview the way she did or not. But when you call a B, that's an insult to all women and men. And when you have a threat, that is something to all of us. And that's where you see we divide people that are serious about what they say or those that are just doing sound bites when it's convenient for their career.
Roseanne Barr was fired for racist tweets, and it was the right thing to do. But I don't know why this is so hard, because this is unbelievably dangerous. What is still up on Snoop Dogg's Instagram.
Didn't threaten anybody's life. She didn't say,
she apologized.
She didn't say, Claire, we're coming to get you.
No.
We're coming to get